guys, welcome back to another episode of Beauty with a Twist. I'm super excited for this week's episode because we have a special guest. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hey guys, my name is Kimberly and I go by Wax Junkie on Instagram. That is _Wax Junkie.
Oh my gosh, I'm so excited to have you. This is my first time meeting her, you guys. Tell them where you came from.
I'm actually from the San Fernando Valley in Los Angeles, here in California.
How far is that?
It was about an hour away to get here.
Oh, okay. So it wasn't that bad, right?
Not bad at all.
So tell them what you do. Tell them about your place. Tell them you think about Wax Junkie.
Yes. So I have a spa in Chatsworth, California. And basically, I specialize in Brazilian waxing as well as facials.
Okay. So do you just do Brazilians or do you do like full body?
Currently, I've put myself to just do Brazilian waxing right now.
Okay. So you don't do like anything else other than...
Vajacials are the add-on that I do have available, but right now I'm not doing anything but Brazilians and vajacials. But I do like butt wax as well as like other little things. But most of the time it's mostly Brazilian that I get booked.
You know
up
where
for.
I know you from too? Neither you're saying this. Hold on. Vajazzles.
Yes, I do
didn't
vajazzles.
Really know what vajazzles? What the fuck were vajazzles until like I looked on your page and I was like, oh my god, that makes sense.
Yes, I do add on some vajazzles after wax or vajacial, and that's just pretty much to make the kitty look a little prettier.
The kitty looks pretty.
It looks very pretty.
Do you charge a lot for vajazzles? This is for me, guys, okay? Hold on. Because I got them and I'm like, how the fuck do I mark them, you know?
Well, I buy the sheets off of the Bush Balm Pro website, and I charge $7 to add it on. But sometimes I will give a little freebie depending on the client, and if they let me film, I'll just be like, can I throw in a vajazzle? And most of the time they'll say yes.
Okay, so you're just like, let me just fucking sparkle your pussy real quick, right? That's
exactly.
what she said, huh?
Yes, let me bling you out.
So how did you come up with Wax Junkie? Tell me.
Well, it was about, now that I'm like trying to think of the amount of time that I've been waxing, about like 7 to 8 years ago, my husband and I were driving down the freeway in LA, and I was just like with a notepad in the car, like constantly like drawing down names and cute little, just creativity of trying to understand like what I wanted to bring. And I remember that I was like, well, waxing is the main thing I'm going to be doing. At this point, I stopped doing facials and I really wanted to focus on waxing. And I remember that I just was dotting down keywords and things that I was like really interested in. And I remember that I really liked the word junkie because in today's world, obviously, junkie is not a very positive word. And I was like, well, once you wax, you can't go back. You're going to really love your results. And for me, it was like you become a junkie to waxing. So it just kind of flow. It was a nice flow to the name, and I stuck with it.
That's literally what I know you as. Like when you walked in, you guys, I was like, wait, I forgot her name. Hold on. And then I was like, wait, I just know you as, because I've never heard such a unique name, Wax Junkie. So when I heard it, I was like, oh my gosh, that's you for sure.
I definitely thought it was such a weird name. And then over time, I just kept saying it out loud. I was like, Wax Junkie, Wax Junkie. And I realized like it was just such a good name and I wanted to keep it. There were a couple times that I was going to change it, and it just, nothing else after that came so organic and like that I loved. So I stuck with it.
Yeah. So how long have you been waxing then?
I've been waxing for 10 years now. So
tell me how you started.
So I started off at European Wax Center.
Of course.
That's like always the first place a lot of us start. And I've been an esthetician for 12 years now. The other day I was actually speaking with my friend Caitlin, and I was like, I think I've been an esthetician for 10 years. And I had to renew my license. And I started to look back on my social media and I'm like, wait, how long have I been an esthetician?
Like you forget.
Forget.
People ask me too. I'm like, wait, I don't even, hold on. I had to count,
Yes. I kind of just was like, wait, I've known Caitlin for a while now. And when I met her, I said I was an esthetician for 10 years. It's been 2 years. So I'm like, yeah, I've been an esthetician for 12 years.
Yeah. So then did you, okay, so back in the day, right? You went to school and then you went straight to European, or did you go another route? Or
yes.
Yeah.
So when I began, I didn't know what I wanted to be after high school. And I remember that my parents, being Latina, they were like, either you go to school or you work. And I was like, ugh. I didn't know what I wanted to do. So I did community college for a while and it wasn't for me. as much as I loved the thought of going to school and becoming the first kid in my family to graduate from college, it just didn't resonate with me. There was a lot of things that I just didn't grasp or didn't really feel passionate about at the end of the day. And I remember I dropped out and I didn't tell my mom for maybe like a month, and I would just lie. And I would tell my mom I'm going to school.
I feel like this is a repeated of my story because that's literally what I did too.
Yeah. I didn't want to disappoint my parents.
Yeah.
And I just kind of was like, okay, well, eventually you're going to have to come clean. And I told my mom, I said, I'm sorry, Mom, but I'm not going to school anymore. And she was just like, well, you're going to have to get a full-time job then. I only had a part-time job at that point. So I used to work in retail. And at that point, I worked for this company that was under BCBG. And I really wanted to do marketing, retail. I love fashion. Like, that's like one of my biggest things that I love to do. Or at the time, I was like doing more merchandising. And I remember they were going to close down. And that's when I decided, like, I have to get a real job, like an adult job.
Yeah.
And luckily, I had a friend who's still in the industry who gave me the option, like, hey, you can come work with me. I work at this skincare company, and they're based out of Barcelona, Spain. And they're called Mezzo Aesthetic. And we would do retail sales. So we would call estheticians, plastic surgeons, dermatologists, and you would call their offices to try to sell them on
the
products.
Yeah.
And they were known for a depigmentation treatment called Cosmelon. So you would have to call these very educated, people, and you would be like excited but also scared because you're like not sure what aesthetics is. Like I went into it kind of thinking, oh, this is going to be like a beauty thing, but only realizing how deeper it got. And the more deeper it got, I was like, I want to be an esthetician. And at that point, I was traveling with them. I got to go to like Miami to the shows for like IACSC and like Vegas and Texas. And I was just traveling in my early 20s. And that's when I realized I'm going to go and get my license. Like, I need to become licensed so that I can take this seriously and know more about the industry and know what I'm talking about. That way, when I talk to these professionals, I can feel confident in what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So I went to school. It took me about 8 months. And after that, I stayed working there. And my boss was pretty much like, you need to get out of here.
She fired you?
He fired me. But in the nicest way possible.
Stop. Was he like, Kim, we just can't afford you in a good way? Or was it like...
It was more, he saw my potential and he said I was wasting my time there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it was a nice way. It was like a nice push. It was like you have way more to discover and you need to get out there. And had he not done that, I probably would have stayed there. Probably would have been comfortable with the job. Because again, I was getting paid well. I got to travel. I was in my early 20s. It was like such a great experience.
So did you have a plan B, or was it kind of just like, I'm fucked? Like,
I'm fucked. It was completely fucked. And at this point, again, like, I was just unsure what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
And I just started applying for jobs left and right. And the first job that called me back was European Wax Sitter.
And then you went to European, and how long did you work there? I
worked there for about a year. I really enjoyed my experience there. I know that I've listened to other podcasts with your guests, and I'm like, it's funny because it's either a hit or miss for some people. Like, you can tell some people are either grateful for the experience or they were just completely like angry. And I think my experience was a mixture of both. Like, I didn't have a great manager and boss, but I think what I found comfort and happiness with was my clients. Like, they were amazing and they were so supportive. And it just became really quickly, I knew that waxing was like one of my strongest things that I could do in my industry. And I just loved it.
And so did your clients follow you?
No, I didn't steal any clients. I was like, other people were scared to get sued. And I was so terrified that I would get a call and be like, you're in trouble,
Yeah. So when you quit, you just decided to go pure solo, and then you decided to work out of a room, or you rented somewhere?
Actually, I ended up applying for Hand & Stone Massage and Facial Spa. They're well known here in Los Angeles. And I primarily worked there for 4 years doing facials. So I kind of quit waxing all in all. And I just was like, well, this job was going to help me grow in my industry. And I wasn't primarily like interested in doing facials, but I was also excited to try something new. and kind of like leave European Wax Center behind, because at the end of the day, working there was great and I learned a lot, but there's no connection with your clients there. They don't really allow you to have a connection with your clients.
Yeah, because it's fast, right?
Yeah, 15 minutes.
In and out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Did you like facials? Be honest.
I loved it.
Really?
Yeah, I did it for 4 years.
Oh, so you did it for 4 years after
European Wax Center.
Okay, so then what made you come back?
Well, the pandemic primarily, because at that time we were furloughed, we were let go for a while. And I remember we were at home and I have a son. So at the time he was about 2-3 years old. And knowing that I wasn't going to be getting a paycheck, it was really scary.
Oh, yeah.
And I feel like, you know, having a child really puts things into perspective, and you realize like, I have to do this because there's so many things that are going to change, and not having an income was like so terrifying. So I remember that I just was like, you know what? Fuck it. What can go wrong? I ended up buying a massage table. I set up in the corner of my back house and I just invited people to start coming in, and I was like, hey, you want a coochie wax?
And they started coming, huh?
They started coming.
Because the pandemic is kind of where I started too, and it just blew up.
Yeah.
You know? So I feel like a lot of people blew up because of the pandemic.
It was a lot of sadness for people, but I think it was also a big eye-opener for people too. And if you build it, they will come.
Yeah. So then after that pandemic passed, then you realized, okay, I need to leave this. Did you rent a room? Or you just went straight to your storefront?
There came a point where my mom has always been so supportive, and like, other than my husband, and you know, I've always had so many people be supportive. My mom was the one who was like, you're bringing a lot of people into your house. I think it's time you look for a space. And I was terrified, because I think anytime you're doing something new, it's completely, it's terrifying.
Yeah.
You don't know what to expect. You don't know what's going to happen. And I feel like that is the point that I kind of want to make across, is like, take those steps slowly and build. Because I think that a lot of us are scared to even start anywhere because you don't know what to expect. But that's the scary part. And honestly, at this point, it's like the most fun part of it all. It's like, you don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah, especially I feel like now it's so, you know, there's so many people that do this in this industry, and it's just so oversaturated, and it is
100%.
So I feel like people are just getting discouraged of like, why am I not getting booked? Or why isn't it working out for me? Like how it's going to be working out, like Wax Junkie, she's so big in the industry, or, you know, other people that are so big in it, like, why isn't it doing that for myself? You know, and they get discouraged, so they stop doing it.
Yeah. And I feel like, I'm not going to lie, my journey has been like to the point where I've worked, that I sometimes look back and I'm completely in awe of like how much has happened since then. And I think that when you're passionate and you love what you're doing, you don't even look back sometimes. And there's sometimes like you're standing on the top of the mountain and you're like, wow, how did I get here?
Yes.
How? And how do I have people that they want to work with me is also another one. It's such a exciting time. And I think it matters like the energy you bring, and people just, they gravitate towards that energy.
Yeah, I feel like that's the same too. I feel like a lot of people, I feel like if you have this like bitchy attitude, or you're just very like closed off, it's not going to get you far.
Really not.
Know?
And we've all worked with people like that. I feel like we've worked with, right? We've all worked with people that we're like, you know what? I see the potential in you, but maybe you're not ready, or you're not there yet.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's something that I've struggled with, because I always want to take people under my wing and I want to help everybody. But sometimes you realize like not everybody, you know,
is you in a way. And we try to like, for example, I had someone that used to work here, and I just kept trying I think I kept trying to push this person to be kind of like me in a way. And I would just share my ideas and share how I filmed my content and how I did certain things that kind of bit me in the ass in a way in the end. And like she wouldn't change when I wasn't around. So like when I was around, she would be this person, but when I wasn't around, she wasn't this person. And clients started like telling me about her, like, I just don't feel comfortable. Yeah. I'm like, this is so weird, because when I'm here, it's not like that.
It's all gravy. Yeah.
And then I had to let her go when I got my first bad review. And it was like a long paragraph about this person. And I was like, I on my
Been there.
website, I
We've
don't
been
have,
there.
I don't have one bad review, but this person, and it's multiple complaints now. And it just hurt me because I was like, "Ugh, like, I just can't change you, you know?
Yeah, even though you want to help them as much as you know, you can only lead a horse to water.
Yeah.
But I think these experiences are what help us grow, and it's what helps us also to learn. Like when you meet someone new, you kind of catch these things and you're like, okay, this person is probably not the best person right now, maybe in the future. But I think it's a struggle because we always want to, I mean, I'm this type of person where I want to see the good in everybody. And I always try to pick the good in everybody. And I like, don't see
What's your zodiac sign? I didn't even ask you. Milo's over me. My manager's over me. I ask every person, what's your zodiac sign? Are you Leo?
No, I'm a Sagittarius. But I think my rising is Leo.
You give me Leo vibes. You give me queen vibes. Like
I'm surrounded by Leos.
For real.
My mom, my brother, and my son are Leos. So I feel like
my mom's
helpless
a Leo.
to it. Yeah.
And my brother's a Leo. So that energy I'm getting from you.
I think it kind of just, you gravitate towards what they do and like you learn from their behaviors and you're like, yeah. But I was just telling my friend Caitlin, I was like, I feel like I'm so real and I'm so honest, but sometimes it does bite me in the ass.
But that's something about Sagittarius. They don't know they don't have a filter. They're going to say what the fuck they say. Am I right?
I try to be nice about it. Okay. I try. I always try to find my words. And lately, actually, what I've been doing is like, I sit on my thoughts before I speak.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's something that I've learned with age. Like as a Saggy, I'm like, okay, like sleep on it and then talk to them tomorrow. Or like, I try really hard not to.
I'm just a crier. Can you guess mine? Are you into astrology? No. Can you guess what I am? Are you not into astrology?
Pisces?
No, close. I'm in the water signs.
I was going to say for sure water.
I'm a crier. I cry all the time. Actually, no. Let me say this. I don't cry.
Aquarius?
I'm a Cancer.
Cancer.
I don't cry, but like, I feel like that I've been pregnant. All I do, I cry all the time. And it can be for the dumbest fucking reasons, okay? Yeah. I think my emotions are just, my hormones are just everywhere.
But that's pregnancy. I was like that too. Yeah. You can ask my husband. He'll tell you I cried for everything.
Yeah, the smallest fucking thing I've seen. Oh my God. Anyways. So you went from the room and then you decided to go to where you at currently, or did you go somewhere else?
No. So actually, after I worked from home, probably for about 2 years. So when people say like, oh my God, you built your clientele. Yeah, but a lot of it was a big amount of time in between. So I ended up from there in North Hollywood. And I rented a small little studio there for about 8 to 9 months. And then from there, my business just kept growing and growing. And there came a point where I couldn't even keep up with my own clients. I would have to turn people down. I would have to say sorry. And at this point, you have to remember, you have your clients come in every 4 to 6 weeks. And so some of my clients were like, I can't get in with you. I can't be consistent because I can't get in with you.
Yes. So it was like, I maybe can't take new clients because my regulars are just taking up so much of my time.
Yeah. But that's also what I learned in sales is you're leaving money on the table. You're literally telling people I can't service you. So you're pretty much sending them away elsewhere. And there was a point where I would tell people, okay, well, come see my neighbor. Or go see my friend over here. So there was just pretty much like I'm sending people somewhere else. I'm not keeping them in-house. And that's when pretty much the idea arose of combining a business and moving to a bigger location. And at first we did file for like an LLC. We were going to pretty much hire people to work for us. And at that point, it was about 6 months into this hire people where it was just a ton of responsibility. It's just one of those things where I don't feel or did not want to feel like I was somebody's boss because I have so much going on in my life. Like I don't have time to tell people
what to do.
Yeah. I just don't. And honestly, one thing I learned was that common sense doesn't really apply to everybody.
Yes.
It doesn't apply to everybody. And luckily I do have a group of strong, beautiful, talented women that they know what they're doing. And I feel like I'm so lucky to have found these group of women.
So you have how many booth renters with you right now?
Right now, Caitlin's the one's been with me the longest and she's here supporting. So I love you, Caitlin.
She's here. Shout out to her.
I love her. So Caitlin, and then there's Lila.
Okay.
And then there's Areli, Rosie. And then we just added Sydney and Daniela. So we're 7 in total.
7 total.
Yeah.
Including you.
Yeah,
That's
including me.
Great. So
Yeah.
does everyone do everything different? So one does facials, another one does.
Pretty much we're a collective group that collaborate. So we're known as aesthetic junkies, but everybody is their own business owner. So it's Skin by Caitlin. And everybody has their own like name for their business. So the Beautiful Soul, Rosy Touch, she's gonna kill me if I say that wrong, and Lila G Beauty. So the other two, I'm still getting to know them a little bit more, and we're gonna talk to them more about like what their approach to beauty is. They just joined us literally like this month.
Yeah. And it's kind of like this, that it's the same thing here, except not everyone, I feel like I'm the only one that does like facials and wax. Actually, no, I have someone that is sugaring.
Oh, cool.
And then I have a lash tech. And then I have a nurse that does Botox and filler and stuff
amazing.
like that. So, and it's good to have everything too, because it's like, if I can't service the wax, I'm like, hey, have you tried sugaring before? And then I'll send them that way.
It's like I said, like keeping them in-house. That way you're not losing a client. You're just
sending them inside, you know?
Yes.
And that's a good thing too. But at first I was doing like hourly. And like you said, it just it's just too much and it's hard. But for me, it was like, I kind of related to where you said like not a lot of people are like you and your work ethic. And I feel like I fired so many girls and their interview was spectacular. And then when I started working with them, I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah, because you get to know people over time and you see their true colors and you realize not everybody has it in them the way you have it in you.
Yeah.
But like I said, I'm very lucky to have my girls that I could see it in them day in and day out. They hustle their asses. They literally promote themselves. And luckily I was able to work with them, you know, hand in hand. I was able to help them learn like about Brazilian waxing, and they've taught me things. And I feel like it's such a great community in our environment. And we've been together. Most of us have been together at least for the 3 years now that we've been renting where we're at. And I can tell you as of now, we've not had one single like argument or fight between us.
I love that.
Which is so rare.
It is. I was just going to say that is so rare.
We have really great communication like that. I know that I can feel 100% about. But, you know, we're women. We're all going to have our days off, our, you know, moments where we're not our 100% best. But I feel like we do a really good job of like uplifting each other too.
Yeah. That's my question. Like, how did you create such like when you interviewed them? Because obviously I interviewed them even though they're a booth renter, so I can't even catch a vibe with them first. Because I'm going to be, even though you're a booth renter, I'm still going to be with you every single day, even though you're your own boss.
100%.
You know? Yeah. So how did you get to like create them? Did they reach out to you and you kind of were just like, or did you know them?
So most of them, well, luckily, like I said, Caitlin was with us from the beginning. She was actually one of our employees at the beginning. And when we switched over to renting, if you don't mind me sharing, she was a little bit scared because she was like, well, I wanted to come into this to be an employee, not to booth rent. Mm-hmm. And I was like, look, we are going to help you. We'll figure it out. And she has been with us 3 years now. And she's been her own boss since then. And luckily she stuck it through. And I feel like every time I interview somebody, most of the time I'll be like, can you sit with me and interview this person? Because I feel like sometimes, like I said, me being me, I'm always like, I want to help this person. Mm-hmm. And sometimes the girls will be like, Kim, did you not notice A, B, and C? And I'm like, no, I didn't.
Oh my God, why are we still the same?
So it's nice to have someone next to you who cares about you, cares about their environment. We care about each other's environment. Because let's be real, we spend more time where we work than sometimes we do at home. Mm-hmm. And so if I'm going to spend all this time at my second home, I want to feel happy. I want to feel like we're all getting along. We take care of each other. And it's honestly one of the best things that could have possibly happened out of all of the things that probably didn't work out. I feel like there's always this positive thing that comes out of things that don't work out. Yeah. And like the same, my assistant, shout out to her. She's been working for like almost 6 years. And there's days, girl, where I'm just literally like, I can't take that. Like, can you do it for me? Like, she just, and then I feel like since you're so close with her too, you know, they just kind of like, they know who you and they know stuff that you like, you like. And then like, okay, I know that she won't like that. Yeah. You know what I mean? And just like the other day I came out and Caitlin was like, are you okay? And I was like, actually, no, but I'll tell you about it in a bit. Yeah. It was just some like slight tea. And then it's funny how we can read each other's energy really quickly. Yes. And I feel like that kind of, not even just friendship, but like you can just really tell if someone's not 100%.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe they don't want to talk. We don't want to talk about it 100% right away, but it takes some time. But like, luckily we have each other to like lean on each other and like have these conversations and discussions. And it doesn't have to be work stuff. It could be personal stuff.
Absolutely.
And we become like family. So I feel like sometimes even like if someone's going through something, you're just like, hey, how's that going? Like,
just
I'm
to
here.
check up. Yeah.
I think it's so nice to have like coworkers like that.
Yeah. And I feel deeper. Like because I'm telling you, I had so many booth renters here, and I've had my long-term renters, and then some they left because of, one was working here. She worked here for like 3 years. She was a booth renter. She went on maternity leave and she just quit being an esthetician overall. But I still love her. I wish she could come back. But anyway, so there's been some that come for 6 months, a year, you know what I mean? And then my assistant's like, stop over fucking sharing your life. And I'm like, I just can't help it. Like, and then I just keep blabbering. And I think it's just because, like, I trust people so fast. And that's, like, my biggest thing. That's not for myself, like, my red flag. Like, I literally trust people. Even if I don't know you, and
then it hurts you because you're like, I trusted you.
Yes, and like, you fucking backstab me and shit. You know 100%. What I mean? So it's like, it sucks. But now that where I'm at, I feel like I know how to choose booth renters wisely. Yeah. And I feel like now the team that I have is so good that I'm like, fuck, like they have to be, if they're the next person that comes in, not only has to be good with me, but with everyone. I need to make sure the vibe.
That's what we do too.
Is with everybody, Yeah,
that's what we do. Like I said, we're very lucky that we all kind of just intertwine with each other so that we kind of know if someone new is coming in, we kind of already know if they're going to fit or not. And I think that's the best part is that we all get along so well that if someone comes in, we're like, ooh, we don't know. Like, that might not work out. And that has happened. There's been times where I've been like blindsided and girls were like, hey, why do you let so-and-so talk to you like that? Like, I had people come in and I'm like, no, you don't get it. They're sweet. That's how we banter. That's how we talk to each other. And they'll be like, no, Kim, you don't see it. Like, and I'm almost like blind because I'm just like,
really?
Yeah.
You're like, are you sure?
Are you sure? Yeah. But I think that's just like the person in me. I always want to see, like I said, the best in people. But I feel like that's also one of my weaknesses is that I don't sometimes see when someone's not being genuine or like they don't want the best for us or me. Yeah. So, and sometimes it takes years, if anything, to figure it out. And I feel like I've come such a long way, but I can't say that I did it on my own. For like 100%, I cannot say I did that by myself.
Yeah. And another question too, because I feel like this is a topic where, I've gotten asked, should you go solo or should you have like a best friend to join you, like a partner? Do you feel that should happen? Do you feel you should, there's always that. Let me give you an example. 2 best friends in a room and they're like, okay, let's go start a fucking business. And then they're best friends. And then they always say that business partners never last. But then there's some stories where they actually last. So do you think someone should go solo?
I would suggest maybe spending more time with somebody if you really want to try it out. I don't think there's anything wrong with it because like you said, there has been instances where I've heard of partnerships working. But I think that at the end of the day, you need to both really have an understanding of what business partnership means to you. Because I do feel like, no offense to anybody, but somebody might have a bigger passion and more of a drive than the other. Or your version of your goal and your dream might not be the same as mine. Or it could change over time. Things happen. There's no really way of telling if it will or work out. It will or will not work out. I just think that in my personal experience, if I could reverse the clock, I'd probably tell myself that I could do it on my own. Like, people say like, if I could tell my younger self something.
That you're going to be okay.
You're going to be okay.
Yeah.
You're going to figure it out. I feel like there's things in my career path that I wish, like I said, could probably reverse time. But I also don't regret anything that I've done because it wouldn't be where I'm at if that wouldn't have happened.
Exactly.
Like these are all stepping stones and learning experiences, whether they're good or bad. I keep telling myself the same thing. Like at the end of this, you're going to come out stronger. You're going to come out having more experience, more knowledge in situations. And if I had to decide right now, if I would go into a partnership with somebody, I would tell you, fuck no. Never again.
But you know what? I've heard that too. I've heard like so many horror stories of having a partner. They did this, they did this. And I actually had some on my podcast talking about this too. But then I also hear good stories. Like, oh my God, I can't, this person's been my, friend for so long and they're my business partner and I do everything with them, but you're right. Sometimes their path isn't your path. And I feel like you have to, maybe they won't tell you that in the beginning. They're like, oh yeah, whatever, we're going to do the same. Like, I want that too.
Yeah.
And
it's almost like love bombing.
Yes.
Like, you're just like, yes.
Yes. And speaking of that, one of my best friends, shout out to her. She was on my podcast and Beauty Bar by Z. I'm going to call her out. We were going to be business partners. We were going to open up like a whole, like an Aspire Sola Salon type of thing. But I think me and her realized that like, yeah, no. Like, let's be best friends.
Like, respectfully, I love you.
Yeah.
Let's not do that to our friendship.
Yeah, and it's so crazy because she became my roommate. So I lived with her too. Amazing. It was amazing. I think it was just such a best friend bond, but not a business bond.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because she runs business very different. So I think we realized like, yeah, let's not ruin our friendship.
Oh, for sure. Because it does, and it can, and it will. Not will, but it might.
Yeah.
But see, like, I don't have a partner right now, but I work alongside other women.
Yeah.
But we're not each other's bosses. I don't boss them. They don't boss me. You want to take days off? Take days off. I'll see you when I see you. But you're running your own business. So therefore, I'm not going to intervene in what you're doing with yours.
Yeah.
You don't intervene with mine, but we could still work together.
Yeah.
Why not? But I've learned the very, very hardest way. And I feel like for me, it's a hard pass.
You're like, next.
Thank you.
Next. Yeah. And that's what I feel like too. I feel like having booth renters for me, and this is another controversial topic, I like it better than having hourly. Okay. But more importantly, I like to have booth renters because I feel like you said, I'm not your boss. You could do whatever you want as long as you pay me your rent. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you could do however, you could take days off. You could do whatever you want. I'm not going to tell you what to do. Just pay your rent and I'll see you when I see you.
Yeah, that's how it is now. And I think that's the best, smoothest way to do it because you wish them well. They wish you well. We share clients. Sometimes that's actually like the funniest thing because
share clients.
Yeah, we share clients.
Oh, like someone like if you don't do something, she does.
Yeah. So if I'm unavailable, like let's just say, I'm unavailable and I go on my schedule. We all have the same booking app. And
I love that.
It's honestly the best. It's the best. I feel like it works the best for us.
Yeah.
At least for us. And I'll be like, hey, I'm unavailable, but Rosie could take you tomorrow. I'm unavailable, but so-and-so could take you tomorrow.
And they keep 100% of that. So it's like everyone win-win.
That's how I feel. And I've heard I'm obsessed with your podcast. So I've heard the other episodes and some of the girls are like, well, I want to be making money when I'm not there. So she's working with me. I pay her hourly and commissions and this and that.
I've done that.
Yeah. But it's, again, more work, the competition. It could feel some way like that's my client. And I feel like I love that feeling of not having that competition. It's just women supporting women and we're all successful in our own way.
Yeah. So that this industry is like super oversaturated. How different is it from like 10 years ago to now? Like, do you see like everyone's a fucking waxer?
I mean, there are a lot of people who I feel like I see online are starting a business, or I even have clients of mine who come in and they're like, hey, I'm going to be going to esthetician school when I graduate. Like, what do you think? And I'm like, look, find your passion. If you love skincare, what's going to work best for you?
Yes.
Because there's a certain amount of things we could do within our scope that I say like, but if you want me to teach you waxing, I'll teach you. And that's happened with my girls where I'm like, I want to see how you do a wax. Like, let me help you. Let me give you tips. And I feel like I said earlier, like I'm probably the one who always wants to help people. But I also feel like seeing people now, like, okay, I'm a business owner now. It takes more than just saying I'm a business owner. There's so many things that come with being a business owner. It's not just an Instagram and a room. It's not. It's more than that.
Isn't.
And I feel like that's one of the biggest things that I stand by is like, make sure whoever you're going to see is a professional, has their proper paperwork, has insurance. There's all these things that come with being an owner other than just being like, I own a business,
Oh my gosh. They don't think they think it's fucking easy. Let me just go to Instagram. Let me just, post and then, I'll still, and you know what? Some people have their regular job and then they'll still do like estheticians on the side. But I feel like a lot of people have asked me, like, oh, how do you do it? Like, how long have you
You're
been
in
doing
school,
it?
right? I heard that you're in business school, or you were.
Yeah. I'm almost getting my bachelor's in business.
That's amazing.
And people ask me, like, well, how have you been in business for so long? I'm like, because, girl, like, even when the days I'm not busy, I'm still keeping myself occupied by doing something that I know that I'm going to get busy. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you're always working.
I'm always working. Even when I'm off, I'm working. And I have 3 days off now. I used to have 0 days off. Now I have 3 days off. And those 3 days off, I'm still working. And it's not even just, it's like working as in like content, or if I'm not doing content, I'm doing like tax stuff, which a lot of people don't know. That's fucking hard. Okay.
No, yeah. If everyone could run a podcast, they would.
It's hard.
It's hard. Everything is going to take work. But if you love what you're doing, you're going to make it work. You're going to you don't even look. You're just like, okay, what do I need to do? What do I need to do? And I honestly could be the one to tell you, like, I'm working all the time.
I know, because I stalked you. Let me tell you how I stalked you, okay? I stalked you. This was a long time ago, when we barely followed each other, and you did something, and you were in a room, you had your ponytail, and you were on your iPad, and it was a list of things to do. You were on there, and you were like, one was content, and you had to do some bush bomb stuff.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh
I make lists. I'm the list queen.
And I was like,
I love sharing my
and
list.
I love that, because then I love to see it. And when I seen it, I was like, fuck, maybe, because my assistant does everything. She tells me my to-do. She's like, don't forget this, and that. She'll even set up my personal appointments for me.
Oh my God. I need somebody like that.
Yeah. And when I move, she helps me move. Like, I moved twice this year already. And she comes and she's like, okay, like, she has her like stuff ready to move. And she helps me outside of work, inside of work. Even when I'm not here and someone wants to come and check out the room for booth renters, I'm like, okay, you take it. She's like, okay, I'll take over.
I love that for you.
So she does everything, right? So when I seen your to-dos, I'm like, maybe I should do that.
I mean, I think that it's great, because there comes a point where I do feel like having an assistant is so nice. We have a girl. Okay. So we ran this little program for a while where we had 2 interns coming in from, what was the school name? I forgot the name of the school, but it's an esthetician school. Academy of Beauty Professionals.
Oh yeah, so they're students.
Yes. So they have this new program now, which, how long have you been an esthetician for?
I think I'm going on, oh my God, hold on. I think I'm going on like 6 years. 7 years. Yeah.
So I'm not sure if you were cut off, but they had this thing where back then you had to do the written exam and then the
I did both
practical
too. Yeah.
Okay, now they don't have that. Now it's just
written.
Pissed. I know, right? Like, it's so annoying.
Yeah.
And it's so frustrating, because when you took this test, you were like
nervous as fuck, first of all. Yes.
And they're watching your every move. And I now know that they only have to do the written part. So
not only just that, did you hear it's shorter too?
Oh yeah, the hours are shorter, right?
Yeah, no, the test is shorter.
Okay.
So normally it was 120. It's 90 questions.
Oh wow. Well,
okay. Anyways,
so we're the OGs. So we had 2 interns come in, and they were pretty much helping us. And one of the interns just really gave it her all. Like, she was like, what do you need? I can do this for you. Take your lunch. I was like, I could get used to this. And, now, so she pretty much graduated. She got her license, and she's been in school right now for nail tech, but she comes in to help me, and I pay her. And she is the best. Like, and that's why sometimes I feel like it would be good to have like an assistant, because they can help you and make more opportunities for you, because they're helping you through the process.
Absolutely. I don't know what I would do without my assistant.
Yeah. And right now I answer all emails, all calls, everything. I do it on my own. No. I do everything by myself.
That's what I'm saying. You're a fucking queen. I knew you had Leo in you, because me, I couldn't. Okay. Yeah. And I did. I'm not saying I couldn't, but I used to do that. But I feel like that's how I drained myself. And I feel like there was important emails I would miss.
Yeah.
And there was important DMs like, hey, I reached out to you. And I'm like, oh my God, I didn't even see it. And there's like, I have a work phone and I have my personal phone. So my work phone would always, even on my days off, would blow up,
Yeah.
And now that
if you're on vacation or,
And my assistant's just like, go.
Yeah.
Leave me your phone. Leave me your iPad. I got you. I love it.
Okay, I'm after this.
This is your sign.
This is my sign.
And I feel like it's someone asked me like, when did you know like you needed an assistant? For me, I think it was when I realized that I was draining myself, and I feel like I was able the income that I was bringing in, I was able to hire someone on my team and just and letting her know that this is my expectations from her, and telling her like what I really need from you is to help me get a lunch, making sure that I'm okay.
Even just the get lunch part.
Yes,
like sometimes you don't eat.
Yeah, making sure that I'm mentally okay, and that like, you know, it's something that I missed but you got, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I feel like she's been working almost, to tell you, for 6 years, and I went to high school with her, so I feel like she understands me.
Yeah.
You know? But yeah, it's the best thing. Just gonna
honestly it is. I feel like just hearing how this makes your life a little easier, especially with a baby on the way, I'm sure it's gonna be.
Yes, she's worried. She's like, well, how long are you taking off work? I said, I'm only gonna take off 3 weeks, but she's
girl.
I know.
Oh my goodness.
I'm a workaholic though. It really is that. You know, when you're a business owner, they're like, you don't really, you work more, I feel like, than a regular, but that also could be a controversial topic. Like, oh my God, like you're saying you work harder than nurses. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is
maybe the same amount of hours as them.
Yes. But also too, like, there is this thing that went viral on TikTok. It was like, being an influencer is so hard. Try to get a regular job, or someone was like, I'm a nurse, and like being an influencer, they were saying some shit like that, right? And it's so crazy because like I don't take like props to you for being a nurse, props to you for being in construction, because it's so fucking hard.
Yeah.
But being a business owner too is just
it's a lot.
hard.
Like sometimes when I talk about these things, like when clients, like when we talk and I'll be like, oh yeah, like this or I'm that, and they're like, you do all that? I'm like, yeah. But it's not by myself. Like I'm lucky I have a lot of help. My mom helps me a ton with my son and my dad, and then my husband, he's a very hands-on father. I can't say I do it by myself. I don't. I need help. I need my, what do they call it? My village.
Yes.
I need my village. And if it wasn't for these people, I wouldn't be able to do what I do.
Yeah. And that's so good too, because not a lot of people have that.
No, yeah. And also for me, like family is super important. Mm-hmm. Like I do, like you said, like you have 3 days off, you said. Mm-hmm. I have 3 days off. I have Sunday, Monday, Tuesday off. And Sunday's my family day. Monday, Tuesday, well, my son's on summer break. But usually I like to be able to pick him up. I like to take him somewhere to get lunch or get a this or that. Like I want my son to see me as well. Yeah. So for me, 4 days a week working, I don't feel guilty because when I'm there, I'm giving it my all. Mm-hmm. And I feel like when I look at these moments, when I get home and all is fine, I don't feel guilty for it. I feel like my son will one day look at me and be like, wow, my mom really did that. And everything I do is for him. Honestly, it is. No, but for real, like it is. It's for him. It's for his future, to teach him that, women could do it, just as much as a man could do it.
And I can't wait for my son to see that too, girl.
Yeah, it's beautiful. It really is. I think that if I will, and I have to be honest, I feel like my drive before my son was pretty bland. I wasn't very there. But after I had him and then going through COVID and doing all that, it was just like, I knew I had to do something. Mm-hmm. And it was beautiful that I found what I found because I knew it was in me all along. I just didn't know it till like maybe even now at this point.
Yeah. And then you kind of see like yourself, like, dang, I've come so far.
Yeah.
And then you're like, sometimes I'm like thinking, I'm like, how the fuck, like you said earlier, like, how the fuck did we do it? Like, and we look back and then there's days I just feel extra grateful.
Oh, 100. Yes, 100%.
And then that's another thing. Like, yes, business is so hard and it's like, yes, it's draining, but in the end of the day, it's the best thing ever because we make our schedule. We're capable.
100%.
We're able to make our schedules, have the days off.
Absolutely.
And,
one of my biggest things is probably, is this your first baby, right?
Yeah.
Is once you see that they're like in kindergarten and they're doing all these like little things like, hey, we're doing a school performance. I'll be like, hey, clients, I'm sorry, but can I see you a little bit later? And they're like, absolutely. Go to your son's performance. Go to his this.
I love that.
These are the things that you will never be able to get back. You won't. And your kids, they look up. When you're at their performance, they're looking in the crowd. Where's my mom? And you see those children who are looking for their parents and they're probably not there. And I, unfortunately, was one of those kids where I would look up and my mom had to work. My dad had to work.
But
I don't blame them for those things. I just feel like that's life. But when you're a kid, you don't understand that. Mm-hmm. So I hope and pray when my son gets older, he's going to be like, well, my mom was always there. Oh. My dad was always there. My grandma was always there, So these are the things that honestly make it worth 12-hour shifts.
Yeah. And that's why I became a business owner. I knew that I wanted to be my own boss for a very long time, and I knew it was going to be hard trying to make it, but I feel like now it's so rewarding that I know that I'm able to run my own business, take the days off, and when my son gets here, I'm able to say, hey, I mean, I know I'm going to take 3 weeks off maternity leave, but I could take longer if I wanted to.
Yeah, you can.
And there's just jobs.
And you should.
Yeah. Everyone thinks I'm crazy, girl. Trust me. And there's jobs that they give you a specific time, and it's...
Don't get me started on the state of California rules.
How long is that? I don't even know.
6 weeks for vaginal delivery, 8 weeks for C-section.
Don't say 8 weeks for a C-section.
8 weeks for C-section. That's what I went through.
Are you joking?
Yeah. My boss wanted me back after 8 weeks, and I was like, well, I plan on taking family time. And she was like, that's fine, but we're going to have to offer you this shift when you're ready.
Shout out to 9 to 5s, for real. Because they go through a lot, too.
There's a lot of things that's wrong with the state of California and mothers and...
Yeah. I don't know, girl. If I get a
C-section... That's a whole other topic.
Yeah, if I get a C-section, deuces. I'm sorry, clients. I love you guys. But yeah. I'm going to take some time
But, everyone's recovery is so different.
Yes.
So my recovery was pretty gnarly. It was pretty bad. And again, my village. That's all I will say. I'm very lucky.
And I'm saying 3. Every time I say 3 weeks, I'm like, 3 weeks.
Yeah, I was like...
Weeks. You know what I mean? But it's for me, I'm trying to come back in 3 weeks only because, like, I'm a workaholic, one thing, and then 2, it's like kind of like I do have a village myself, so they're like, we'll take care of the baby, and well, they're gonna help me out through everything too. But for me, it's like I hope I have a good recovery, because if it's not 3 weeks, then I'm gonna
and take as much time as you need. Postpartum depression, recovery. There's a lot of things that go into it. I feel like for people who've never had children, like they don't really know what to expect. I myself didn't know what to expect. And when I did have to go back, I will say that did contribute a lot to my postpartum. And because I will say this as a mom, like I breastfed for a year. So like the pumping and the breastfeeding and going back to work after 8 weeks, it was very difficult. It was very difficult. The bonding moment of your kid. And it's just a very crucial time for both.
Yes.
So
I've heard that.
Take your time. That's all I will say. I would never tell people what to do, but...
And then if you see me on Instagram and then you see me back in 3 weeks, you better text me and be like, girl, are you fucking okay?
Well, at least you're going to be here. Like, yeah, have a good facial. And just free the nipple. Yeah. Go for it.
I love freeing the nipples.
Yes.
Okay. So now let's talk about this little controversial stuff that I've been seeing on Instagram. Are you a fast waxer or are you tell me, because look, can I be honest with you? I'm not. Okay, I could be a fast waxer. I could be having someone in and out in 10 minutes if I wanted to.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Okay. But I feel like I have such a bond with my clients. But
that's my problem.
Yeah, I've heard like, oh, you can have a bond in 10 minutes. But
no.
Can you?
I mean, no, I'm sorry, but no. We block off 30 minutes for Brazilian waxing.
Okay.
And the reason being is because of the chisme. the chisme, right? Am I...
No, for real. Yeah.
If you have a good bond with your client, it's as soon as they walk in, sometimes I'm like, can I close the door before you get naked? Like, let me shut the door before you start bringing it all down.
Yeah.
And it just starts. They get undressed. They hop onto the table. 30 minutes sometimes is not enough for you to fit in. But then again, like, I don't have a PhD, baby. Like,
oh,
like,
shit.
There's only so much I can help you with. So I do say, for me, I'm a slow waxer for that. And I run late. Sometimes when I come out and I'm a little early, everyone's like laughing at me. They're like, you're early. And I'm like, ooh. But it's sometimes, for the most part, I don't like rushing my clients in and out. I don't want European waxer vibes. I don't want my client to feel like they're just another number.
Yeah.
And to me, I'm not going to lie. Yes, money is the motive. Money is the best thing out of what we do. Mm-hmm. But for me, I feel like I could meet in the middle.
Yeah.
I could still make good money, but I could still service my client and have enough time with them. And to me, making them feel heard, like seen, loved, all that is so important when it comes to your business. That's why they don't go to European Wax Center.
Yeah.
If they wanted to have fast,
they would.
What do you call it? Wham, bam, slam. Thank you, ma'am. They can go down the street. But I think they come to us because they want to experience just friendships.
Yeah.
That's all it is.
I agree, because I've seen so many girls that, well, not so many. Well, yeah, let's say so many. I've seen girls on my Instagram and they have like 45 Brazilians in one day. And I just know in the back of my head, 45 Brazilians is how many minutes per client. And then I see other girls like they'll start at 7, clock out at 11 p.m. because they have so many, you know, Brazilians plus in between brows and stuff like that. And I'm just like, how do you get a conversation? Like for me, it's like, fuck, I talk so much. So I space out 30 minutes, you know? And it's like, yes, I'll be done with your wax in 10 minutes. You're not going to be in pain for 30 minutes, but you'll be in pain for 10 minutes and the other 20 is just for me and you.
Yes. I think that's how it is, honestly. Like I could do a Brazilian in 15 minutes or less, but I walk over to my pot and I walk back and I'm like, breathe in, breathe out.
How does temperature?
And when we're doing the vajacial, even nicer because then they do like the little steam and then it's just it's an experience. They're paying for an experience. They're not paying for a quick service. But if that's what you do with your business, by all means, do that. And if your clients come back and they love that experience, even better. Yeah. But I will be honest, I do have a few clients, a handful, where they will say, I got to be in and out. Like, I got to go. I have things to do. And I'm like, say less. I get you out. Don't worry. Yeah. And those people, we might not have that bond, but at least they know they can come in with me and they can still get that service and it's fine. But there are people who I do feel they need that extra time. How many people have you had cry on your table?
Oh my gosh.
Not from the wax. from like an emotional topic or like discussing things.
Yeah, a lot of times. Even when I get facials and I have this thing where I can feel someone's sympathy. Yeah. And I just feel like it kind of just like when I touch you, I could just feel like you're going through something.
It's like that energy. You're empath. You're an empath.
And I could just feel it and like when someone even
when you greet them, you can see it automatically. Like, what's going on? How are you?
Yes, and it's so weird because even with new clients, I like even if I've never met you, I could just feel like, are you okay?
Yeah,
I remember I've had that happen a couple times where I've had this one client in particular. She was new, and I asked her like, "Hey, are you good?" Just wanted to make sure. And she was a new client, broke down crying on the bed.
Yeah. It's because they're in a vulnerable position. They, it's just a lot of emotions going on at once. Yeah. So that's why I don't like to rush them out. But I think I just did this funny TikTok where my friend who comes to see me and I wax her, and she usually will bring me a little buzz ball at the end. She's so cute. And we'll drink our buzz ball at the end. But we're like laughing because it's like that. It's like a therapy session almost. And then I think I put like my phone up to like leave a tip kind of thing. She was like, thank you for letting me vent. And I just went like this with my phone and it's like, it says leave a tip.
I'm
10, 20, 30. But it's like funny because it's like, that's how like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this is so funny. We had my other podcast, my last one with Christian. We're talking about tipping. Do you include your tipping into your?
No, it's we charge $70 for a Brazilian and $105 for a wax and a mini vajacial.
Okay.
And we don't ask people to tip us. If they tip us, we will accept it. Sometimes if like a client comes in, they're like, I've just spent so much I've been on a budget, this and that. And they're like, here's like my $5. Well, I'm like, go get yourself a coffee. Go treat yourself to something.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, it's appreciated, but it's not mandatory. It's not. It's already included in our price.
Yeah.
Well, like it's not included, but like
it's not included,
fine.
But the price of the wax is already enough in a way. Yeah.
Yeah.
I understand.
So I try to be understanding.
Oh, I'm not pushing with tips, but shout out to my clients. I have the best tippers.
Oh, yeah. Me too.
Oh, my gosh.
Sometimes we get major tips and I'm like, no, or they'll pay me with Zelle on their way out. And I've gotten that before where like they'll tip me a lot, like $50 or something. Yeah. And I'm like, and I'll text them and I'm like, did you mean to send me this much? And they'll be like, yeah. And I'm like, they didn't have to, but thank you. I appreciate you. I always appreciate your business. Like it's not needed, but thank you.
Yeah.
Honestly, it's really nice.
Have you had any crazy waxing stories lately?
We're just talking about this.
Stop.
This happened recently. Full disclosure, I know I've like I said, listened to your podcast, and I know that everybody's so different with what they allow in their rooms. So, for example, like I know some people don't allow extra people in their room, and I usually don't care. I don't mind because I've never had an experience where it was uncomfortable.
Yeah.
So this time around, somebody did ask me if they can bring in somebody, and my gut feeling, listen to your gut feeling. I already knew in my heart that it was like, don't do it.
No go. Oh, fuck.
But I still allowed it because I said to myself, sometimes my clients want to bring in their significant other because they want to see what the process is like. They want to see, and I've had people of all, you know, gay, straight, bi, all of that. So to me, I'm LGBTQ, all of that. I'm happy to accept all people. So this person wanted to bring in their significant other, and I was just telling my friend and my husband, like, it made me feel very uncomfortable because I rarely have this like gut feeling that it's not a good idea. But this time I knew it wasn't, and so brought in her person, and just the comments that were being made, the way they were acting, there was a lot of sexual energy, and I was like, why do I feel like you guys are getting off on this? Why do I feel like you guys are excited for another woman to be in the room with y'all right now? Like, this has like never happened to me.
Yeah.
It was giving swingers. And we've been poached. My husband and I have been poached many times.
Oh my God.
And we're always just like, it's a cute, funny idea, you know, but we don't think we don't go that way. Not right now. Not right now. Maybe in like our 60s or something. When we're all saggy, you know.
We're not there yet. We're not there yet.
So, you know, I honestly felt super uncomfortable, and this has never happened to me. And I was telling them, I'm like, I was a little disappointed in myself that I didn't speak up.
But
and
was it bad? Like,
there was some smacking going on. There was some leg grabbing. There was a little push of the penis, and there was some comments like, you like it like that? Does that feel good? Stop. And at the end, I always grab my like bush balm oil, and then I'm like, and he was like, well, does that feel good? And I was like, y'all need to get the fuck out. Like, you guys need to go.
Go. Goodbye. Please.
But I didn't say anything, and I was so frustrated with myself that I was not like how I thought I was. I thought I was
a regular. Oh my God.
I'm not gonna say.
Stop.
I don't want to get myself in anything, but I feel like next time I know.
Absolutely.
And I feel like from here on, I will know what to do and what to say, and like how to handle the situation a little bit better. Because if it made me feel uncomfortable and I see naked people for a living, I think that's a lot to say.
Yeah, I know. I wasn't like, deuces. I've gotten into this. I think unless I was the same way, because I'm not even gonna front. Like, there's times that stuff has happened to me and I'm like frustrated myself because I don't speak up. But recently something happened and I didn't speak up. I think it's because in the moment I'm not thinking, and it's kind of like I'm embarrassed. I don't know. I'm secondhand embarrassed. I don't know what it is, and I don't know.
And I always told myself, like, I'm gonna know how to handle these situations if they ever arise. But I think what it was just more like shock and not being fully aware, and like, but now I know.
Yeah.
You know, so if that ever happens to somebody, like, I want them to know, like, say something if you're uncomfortable. Like, you're the professional. You at any point should say when enough is enough. And I think that it comes with the territory, because just because we're Brazilian waxers and we're used to it, there are some things that can happen where you're like, no. And I think that was my fine line. Like, that was my direct, like, I'm a professional. I don't do that.
Have you ever had to fire a client for like a no call, no show?
Oh, yes, absolutely. And part of me almost feels excited to do it.
Like a loyalty client too?
Most of the time it's not loyal though. I feel like most of the time it's someone who doesn't really know me, doesn't know my work ethic, doesn't know who I am.
But been there probably 3 times maybe?
Yeah, but there have been instances where it's someone who's been a regular, and I'm like, I'll text. Most of the time, okay, so we use Square App, and most of the time, if they no call, no show, we try to give them a chance to pay through Zelle and Venmo. We write it in our system. We let them book next time. They have to pay the full service amount. We don't play with the
50%. I think.
No, you pay for the full amount, baby. You were wasting my time. Yeah, because that's because you're wasting my time. Period. I could have easily taken 1 or 2 people in between for your appointment. So I think that kind of also teaches them to be respectful, and they don't want to lose out on $105 or $70 or whatever service they booked. And it doesn't matter if they even booked just with me. They could book with me and 2 of my other girls. They have to pay all 3 of us.
And what if their card declines on
And that happens
all the time.
It happens.
Yeah,
and it's so frustrating, 1. 2, it's disrespectful, because at the end of the day, you can go somewhere, and I've worked other places where they still charge you a certain amount for no showing. But for us, it's like a full price. And when it declines, we just block them from booking. We put a little red flag on their name.
We go on Instagram and say, we can never do this again.
Yes. I will literally, once in a while, I will post a whole thing, a paragraph. I'll chat GPT it too, so that way it sounds nice. Because when I'm writing it, it does not sound nice. But I'll put on chat GPT, make this sound nice. And it'll say like, it's frustrating when we can't service other people due to you booking. And when your payment declines, it's a waste of time for you and for me.
Yeah.
So I take it very serious. I do not play with my time. And my husband will tell you, I'll go home and I'll be like, you will never guess.
Yeah.
And I get frustrated. The girls get frustrated. They come to me. It declines. So you're not welcome back until you pay your fee. And that happens.
Yeah.
Where they won't pay it. And then a couple months will go by and then they'll reach out and they'll say, hey,
that just happened to me.
I'm sorry, but I'm going to pay your fee. Can I still come in? And we'll wait. We'll silently wait till you are ready to come back. And most of the time they will, because they'll go somewhere and they probably will expect the same service, if not better or whatever have you. And then when they realize that it's not going to get better than us, then they come back. And we'll gladly
take it back. But plus what you owe me and what I'm about to do to you.
100%. Yep. But stand on business. That's what your business is. You have to stand on it.
And it's like I had to learn that because it's like I said, shout out to my assistant. She's the one that's like, no, they don't get no more chances. Like that's it, they're done. So she writes all the messages for me. But then I'm always like, no,
she's the bad guy.
Yeah. I'm like, no, it's okay. Like it's fine. Like it gives me a little break to do this. But then this was a long time ago. Now I'm just like, oh hell no, block that person. Like I can't, No,
and your work is so beautiful, honestly. So I feel like your work is who you are. It's what you do. It's your passion. It's more than just a service you didn't show up for.
Yeah.
It's my livelihood. It's all of it.
Absolutely.
So that's why for us at Aesthetic Junkies, we take it very serious.
No, yeah. I've realized that I have to take that serious. And I've also had clients that they'll come get service and they dispute it.
Oh, that happened to me recently.
Yeah.
And I had receipts and I won.
And I had receipts and I lost.
Oh my gosh.
Video recording. And it was a $500 service. $500. So crazy. And it happened. I turned in video recordings. I turned in bank statements, everything, booking, my booking site, my rules and stuff. And
it's all placed. That's the thing. Like we're not just we place it everywhere for you to see it. You sign off on these policies. And it's unfortunate, but luckily it doesn't happen all the time. So it's okay.
Yeah. But that's how it is.
Yeah, that's how it is.
Yeah. Well, thank you for being on my podcast.
Thank you.
We are time's up, but we always end this podcast with a quote. So go ahead and tell us your quote. Did you think of a quote?
I feel like I did at the beginning. I was like, what am I going to say? But it was like last minute. I was like, ugh. My favorite quote, and I will always live by this one, and I stand by it. And I used to have a Post-it note at the top of my computer when I was working in sales. And it said, if you love what you do, you will never have to work a day in your life. So it was really cute. I loved it. I was like, do what you love and you'll never have to work a day in your life, because you'll wake up every morning. You're going to have passion. It's your drive. It's your goal. It's you live, breathe, eat, sleep it. And I actually bleed it too. So.
Oh, I love that.
I'm like,
stop. My hormones are crazy right now. Please don't make me cry.
No, I know. But it's honestly such a pleasure to be able to do what you love and to have people constantly support you, to give you these opportunities to be on podcasts, to work with brands like Bush Balm, as their in-house SD, to have a group of women who work with me and they support me and they love me and they keep cheering me on. It is the best experience I could have ever asked for.
Yeah. And I'm so sad we didn't even talk about Bush Balm.
I
Crazy.
know. I love Bush Balm.
But it's okay. You'll be back. I hope you'll be back.
Bush Balm SD.
Yes. I'm hoping that our next season you'll be back and see where you are from there.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for driving down here for me.
Thank you.
And for being on my podcast.
Thank you.
All right, guys. See you next week. Bye.
Bye.